So the question is for today, how do I get the children to stop complaining or bickering about schoolwork, chore work, just a daily ongoing complaint cycle of this is hard, I don't want to do this. How do we stop that? And so I don't know, what will work for your children. I love all the parenting books. They're all super great. But one of my mentors said once, those books should be How to Parent My Child. That's what the title should be. That doesn't work for everybody. I'm going to tell you what worked for my five, and then you can decide if it will work for you and yours. We're fairly militant. My husband's a Marine, so everything that goes in your head with that stereotype, except for the dumb part, he's not dumb. He's super genius. But every other stereotype, he's a very Marine, a U.S. Marine. So it was very easy for me to implement some of these things based on his personality and the support I got from him. So what we did was we did boot camp. I want to say it was 3 weeks, maybe it was just 2 weeks. I don't really remember because it was a very, very difficult part of our lives. The children were ages 4 up to, that means Mitch would have been 10, because the 5 of them were born within 6 years of each other. So I remember Lisa was 4, and even she was complaining. It was crazy that anything that they had to do was looked at as somehow they shouldn't have to. They felt kind of owed, like all they wanted to do was play video games, watch TV. We had moved into this fancy dancy house. This was the part of our lives where we lived in a really fancy house. My husband was making a lot of money at his company that he had transferred to, and they had given them a huge salary. We were living high on the hog. It was an amazing part of our lives where there was just plenty to go around. And so I feel like that added to it. I don't know, but it felt like, they had new furniture, they had vacations. We had, my husband drove a Corvette. And so that kind of atmosphere of luxury, and there was no lack, there was no need. I did hire a housekeeper for a little bit, not a housekeeper, a house cleaner. I hired a lady to come in and clean the house once a week. All those kinds of things, I feel like created this attitude of people, the students, the children, expecting to be waited on. So that's all the situation. That's the background. What you're interested in is the solution. What changed it? I'll tell you what changed it. Boot camp. So boot camp is where the children are either sleeping, eating, schooling, or choring, period. That's it for the entire 2 weeks. It had to have been 2 weeks. I don't think I could have survived 3. So even little Liesel, she was either sleeping, eating, choring, doing schoolwork, doing chores, cleaning of some sort, or schooling. So it got to the point where they were so grateful for school because that was the easiest part of their lives. They wanted to go to bed early because they could get to bed. They were constantly finding books to read, and that was their thing. So there wasn't even a discussion of free time, playtime. I want to say it was during the summertime, so we didn't have co-op. I didn't have to adjust for any of those things, and it was exhausting. It was worse on me than on the children, hands down. It was the hardest thing I ever did. But the trickle down from Mitch, the 10-year-old, he recognized, and then the 8 and 7-year-old for sure recognized, the 6-year-old a little bit, and the 4-year-old not too much, but because of that experience, they referred to it a lot. They all recognized, wow, I have a lot of free time. I have a lot of freedom. And before that, they just wanted me, give me. They didn't know what they were getting. They didn't know what they had. And so once I removed all that, or my husband helped me to remove all that, and they were either just eating, sleeping, choring, or schooling, they were so grateful for all the freedom they hadn't recognized before. So it's exhausting. It is hard work. You have to be with them the entire time because they are going to slack off. I woke them up at 6 and they went to bed at 7:30. Used to be it was 7:30 to 7:30. My kids were all like 12-hour kids. I don't know if that was natural or again, the militant attitude, but after those 2 weeks, honestly, they have never complained again. They never have. I have never had trouble with them doing chores. My oldest is now 20, so that was 10 years ago. I never had trouble with them doing their schoolwork. They have the freedom to choose when and how to do it most of the time. They just have to get it done. And after that 2-week period of time where I removed all of their freedom, they recognized how much freedom they had and they no longer took it for granted. I have threatened once or twice, do we need boot camp again? But not very often. If they drug their feet, or if they seemed hesitant, or if they wondered when could he be done with this? So the complaining, I mean, there was like a lack of gratitude sometimes, but the constant bickering and complaining was gone. And I hear you. Yeah, I was up to here with it. You know, everybody's like, oh, Suzanne, it's just $5 times 5. Oh, it's just that one kid. No, it's all 5 of them. And so all those little tiny things that with one child or 2 children, complaining a little bit or bickering a little bit, it's exponential when you have multiple children, especially within a short year span. So if you're one of those that has lots of kids in a short time period, or even just a couple of kids, it's still exhausting and you're frustrated because they don't know the freedom they have. They have nothing to compare it to. So try to have grace for them, but also teach them, show them. I mean, one of my other mentors said, this is the education for kings and princes. And it's true. These kids got a literary-based, tailored education directly to their strengths, focusing on their weaknesses, tailored to them, not pushing them, but showing them the way that they could go and all that they could achieve. They have no idea the value and the freedom and the amazing education they got. And how could they? So this is Suzanne, hoping that helps you. I don't think you really need to contact me. If you have any questions, I'm sure I'm happy to answer it, but just come up with a schedule. From this time to this time, you're doing this chore. This is snack time. This is the next chore. My house was so clean. It was so clean. They've never complained again. It does take the full 2 weeks. I wanted to give up after the first week, and my husband said, baby, if you can hold on, you won't have to ever do this again. And he was right. Seriously, Suzanne.